Colleagues, let's resume our House Committee meeting. Mr. Wong Yok Man. Mr. Chairman, just now I wrote an article. Mr. 689 is not immune from defamation, but we have the freedom to override and overturn Mr. 689. A lawyer's letter to Mr. Joseph Lian in relation to this alleged defamation lead me to think of two stories that's frequently mentioned. In the great history, Emperor Hon Mandai said that defamation may be used by the emperor to attack the officials such that they would keep their mouths shut. And this is a method to do away with the good officials. So over 1,000 years ago, Emperor Hon Mandai already took the lead to abolish the defamation law. He was criticized by the general public, and Professor Jefferson of the USA was very insistent on his belief in press freedom. So that's the major declaration of freedom of speech. Should there be newspapers and no government, or government but no newspapers? I will choose the former. President Jefferson was accused as being a thief, a fabricator, etc., etc. But then he said that he volunteered to become an experiment to prove that if a government is good and correct and can gain people's trust and confidence, nobody can overturn it. In fact, it's ancient culture in China. As Mencius said, no emperor or government should be afraid of criticisms. Mr. 689 relied on his power to send this lawyer's letter of defamation. He was resorting to sophistry to say that Hong Kong Economic Journal had defamed him. But in fact, the Hong Kong Economic Journal and the indirectly apologized by publishing a statement to pave a way for Mr. 689 to withdraw his comments or position. Ms. Claudia Mo, well, originally I thought that C.Y. Leung's supporter, like Lu Mon Hong, had all criticisms flying around in society, and why should we have this select committee? Now, these people cannot defend C.Y. Leung anymore because C.Y. Leung himself considers this a very important issue, so much so that he has to send a lawyer's letter. C.Y. Leung is a senior official. He should know that he has no right to sue scholars, senior media members, etc. for defamation. Ms. Claudia Mo, please come back to the theme of this discussion. I know, Mr. Chairman, don't interrupt. Well, C.Y. Leung is issuing this lawyer's letter in his own name, but this is a top-down bullying on our people, and this is very unfair to Joseph Lian. I hope that C.Y. Leung can clearly explain to us in the commentary of Joseph Lian what elements of defamation there are. He should sue Lu Mon Hong first because he's the first culprit. Why should he attack or handle a local newspaper first? Well, that's not related to this issue. Oh, it's related. Is this related to Ms. Sitho's proposed motion? Well, I have to mention Ms. Sitho's motion. The Chairman, you have to understand that if God wants a person to vanish, he'll first drive him crazy. Mr. Lee Cheuk-yan, will C.Y. Leung sues Economic Journal and Joseph Lin for defamation is because he wants the truth to be exposed. If that's the case, why doesn't he come out to explain to the public whether or not Liu Monghong was telling the truth? He doesn't explain to us. He only knows how to sue people. Now, this time, the LegCo wants to invoke the LegCo Powers and Privileges Ordinance to investigate into this so that we can let the public know the truth. Whether or not what Liu Monghong said was true and what defense C.Y. Leung will have under the sun, this is a very serious allegation. C.Y. Leung uses public officers to exchange for Liu Monghong's support. What has been done between Liu Monghong and C.Y. Leung, the public doesn't know. Did C.Y. Leung promise Liu Monghong an EXCO seat? And what electoral services Liu Monghong provided to C.Y. Leung, we don't know. Including whether or not triads were involved, we don't know. So, we should invoke the LegCo Powers and Privileges Ordinance to conduct an investigation so that Hong Kong's people will know the truth. Of course, they mentioned this sacrosanct power. So, do you mean you never use the ordinance? You're actually defending C.Y. Leung. Well, I'm trying to guess what you're going to say. You may say that this is not really a serious matter. You may say that we are casually and randomly invoking the ordinance. That's not true. In fact, C.Y. Leung has never been investigated by this council. It's time for us to do that. Kenneth Chan, Mr. Chairman, we have to handle this very seriously. We try to follow up on this in the panel. The director of buildings did come to provide answers to our questions, but we're not satisfied. After that meeting, I wrote to the Buildings Authority to inquire about something. I asked for correspondence. For example, those correspondence in June last year between the department and C.Y. Leung, could members of the public know? Well, the reply letter came, but the important parts of those correspondence were blacked out. So what's meant by sincerity and openness, as C.Y. Leung said? Now, in the reply letter, it said that the landlord and related parties, that is third party, would not like to disclose the information. So the BA was hands tied. The C.Y. Leung is the CE, is a public figure. He just told us to trust him. But when we asked him to explain, he hid behind privacy and the Personal Data Privacy Ordinance. And then all those information sank into the sea together with his integrity. This is a serious issue, an important issue, as he sent a lawyer's letter to target Joseph Lin's commentary. Why can't he come here to explain himself? So I support Ms. Claudia Mo's proposal to disclose the truth to the public by way of invoking this LegCo Powers and Privileges Ordinance. Mr. Kok Him, very clearly, Chairman, the DAB opposes the motion. In fact, we are not actually debating this motion. The HC is now asked to set up a select committee in the name of the House Committee. Well, in fact, the agenda of the 20th of February is already here. Well, let's discuss this issue on that day. Why should Ms. Sit Ho still propose this motion? So we oppose this suggestion. Mr. Wong Kok King? Mr. Chairman, in fact, I've not much to say. I just want to say that Mr. Lee Cheuk-yan has made wrong guesses. These are all rubbish. The AFT opposes the motion. Mr. Dennis Kwok, on the day we debated the impeachment motion, the pro-establishment members said that they did not see any serious breach of law or dereliction of duty on the part of C.Y. Leung. Now that these serious allegations have emerged, why shouldn't we investigate into this? If there's evidence, if we have the power to collect evidence to see whether there's serious breach of law and dereliction of duty, what more excuses you still have to reject this investigation? So sorry, Mr. Ip Kok Him, you have wasted your time. Mr. Sin Chung Kai, the Democratic Party supports this motion. I hope this motion will be carried and the HC chairman will move the motion in the electoral meeting on behalf of the HC. Similar motions had been raised but vetoed. At that time, many people said that we only had partial information. I believe this time if we carry out an investigation, witnesses will come forth to provide evidence. So the Democratic Party supports that such a resolution be introduced into the electoral meeting in the name of the HC.
Mr. Leung Yu-jung, well, some said that on the 20th, Sit Ho has already put forward this in her name. Why do we still have to talk about it and make the chairman move the motion? As we all know, there is a difference between a motion moved by an individual member and a House Committee chairman. If this is moved by the chairman, then it shows for the public that this is not a personal intention. It will represent the intention of the entire electoral members, and it would make a lot of difference. Now, although we anticipate that this will be defeated, we still would like to exhaust all the avenues and get and do what we set out to do. I think Ms. Sit Ho is merely discharging her responsibility as an electoral member and bring this up for members to state their stance. You may say that since we're going to debate it anyway, we might as well leave it till the 20th. I think that we ought to take this seriously. C.Y. Leung issued a lawyer's letter, and he said that he would like to take this seriously. I hope that you would adopt the same attitude and take it very seriously. The fact that you're talking about this today doesn't mean that you cannot talk about this in the days to come. I think we have to take this with all due seriousness. I support Sit Ho's motion. Dr. Fernando Cheung, Chairman, thank you. Whether we should send to the Select Committee under the House Committee to investigate into the matter, it would depend on the gravity of the matter. The gravity of the matter is in no doubt. In Liu Monghong's interview for Sun affair, there was fabrication, there was bribery involved in the election. So serious that triggered a commentary by Joseph Lan, and the chief executive saw fit to issue a lawyer's letter to sue the Economic Journal for defamation. And this is the top guy of the Hong Kong SAR, and we're talking about some irregularities, some dubious acts committed. According to newspaper report on the 26th of January, Mr. Joseph Len made the point that should we set up this select committee under the House, it would be prepared to cooperate and attend the meeting. Today, all these pro-establishment members are getting in the way. What is the point of having this council here in Hong Kong? We are dealing with something that has implications on the whole of Hong Kong, and these loyalists are blocking the whole thing and stop the relevant people to come forward and disclose everything. Are we emasculating ourselves? What's the point of having this council in Hong Kong? I'd like to hear what the loyalists have to say on such an important matter. Why is it that they wouldn't allow every relevant person to give an account for Hong Kong? Mr. Wu Chi-wai, well, today's motion is to ask members to endorse the idea of a select committee being formed under the House Committee. I think this represents the position of the Council. C.Y. Leung issued a solicitor's letter and threatened to sue HKEJ and Joseph Len for defamation. That there was allegation that the Triad Society was involved. Now, what we call the black gold politics is something that would be wholly unacceptable in Hong Kong. But on such an important question, it was mentioned in Liu Monghong's interview, and Joseph Len, in his commentary, highlighted these particular misgivings. If LegCo members are not allowed to express their views and get to the bottom of the truth, then we are falling down on our job. So the Democratic Party is in full support of the idea of a resolution here in this committee to endorse Ms. Sit Ho's motion. And I hope that members will recognize the fact that this is a very, very important matter, and it is wholly unacceptable to have this, what I call the black gold politics in Hong Kong. We need to have Liu Monghong and C.Y. Leung appear in the Select Committee and give us a full account. I hope that nothing in our worries does exist. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, Chairman, C.Y. Leung issued a letter to Hong Kong Economic Journal. Now, we're not talking about an ordinary member of the public. He is the top leader in Hong Kong, and I think it's only natural that people cast doubt on them. Now, he is asking Economic Journal to retract the article. Liu Monghong is making all these accusations with every single shred of evidence there. And C.Y. Leung didn't write to Liu Monghong and asked him to retract the allegation. He didn't even write to the Eisen Affairs to retract the allegation. He's blowing hot and cold here. It seems to us that what Liu Monghong said is to a certain extent correct or true. If he's treating the Hong Kong Economic Journal like this, then I would imagine that he would do the same to Liu Monghong. If he is daft enough to appear at the newspapers and does this, then why doesn't he call a press conference and say that what Joseph Len said is not true, and there is nothing can be further from the truth? I think people get the impression that he's really scared of Liu Monghong. So I think there is no justice if we don't really carry out an investigation, because he has exposed himself. Right, your time is up, Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Anybody else for the first round? Mr. Albert Chan. Chairman, I anticipated opposition from the loyalists, but I look forward to hearing from Dr. N. Cheung and see how she would defend or leap to the defense of CY. Now, the governance in Hong Kong is getting from bad to worse. It's not simply a question of the credibility of the chief executive, and if you look at the entire team, if you get in touch with the senior civil servants, the resentment felt by the civil servants, and also the way number 689 is impinging on their credibility, is making these civil servants feel really ashamed. The damage is really considerable. If the DAB is in favor of invoking PNP over Kam Nai Wai affair, then today they are they are exercising favoritism. I'm not sure whether it is for some personal reason or some secret affection or secret admiration that they try to block this whole move. The lawyer's letter is really making us surprised. Now, so many people are heaping criticism on him, calling him a liar. I gave an interview to the BBC and I said that this is a habitual liar. And he always lied and lied and lied. I never got any letter from his lawyer. In fact, C.Y. Leung admitted that he was a liar. And nobody calling him a liar ever received any letter from his lawyer. Since he has admitted that he is a liar, shouldn't we conduct an investigation? I hope that the loyalists would wake up now. All right. The sit-ho has been given a slot, so it's not a case that there will be no time for this to be moved at the council meeting. There are 2 more members for the second round, unless there are more members. I would draw a line there, 2 minutes, sit-ho, and then I'll put it to the vote. Agreed? All right, then that's how we proceed. Mr. Dennis Kwok, 1 minute, please. Chairman, some members talked about C.Y. Leung suing people for defamation. I think this is highly relevant. PNP, Section 14, if someone is summoned to give evidence here, then they would enjoy the same privileges as if they were in a court of law. Now, this is very important. C.Y. Leung is suing someone for defamation. If someone is giving evidence or testifying, then they should enjoy the protection under Section 14 of the PNP ordinance. So this is directly relevant to his lawyer's letter issued to the relevant party. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, I think C.Y. Leung has, by his own mission, let people know that he is a liar. Joseph Len said that he's involved with the Trial Society, and he was really incensed about it. And everybody knows that he's a liar. Those who are protecting him will know that he's a liar. It's only that they have to protect him. Of course, he would be incensed by allegation that he's involved with the Trial Society. This is a new allegation. Now, whether he was involved with the Trial Society, we don't know. So that's precisely the reason why we have to carry out an investigation. Now, he criticized me for my acts during his visit. I think I just joined the rest of the members of the public in protest against him, and he is really pointing an accusing finger at me. I think he better conduct his visit in a toilet. Ms. Sit-ho, I heard that in his lawyer's letter there is a a statement that the Hong Kong Economic Journal should not publish similar articles in future. I think he's silencing people. If we can invoke the PNP and summons all the witnesses, then we don't have to be worried about CY Leung issuing you with a lawyer's letter, and they can speak their minds here. On the 20th of February, I have been given a slot at the council meeting, and I do hope that fellow members would subscribe to this idea. I am trying to find out the extent to which we can tolerate the situation. A couple of days ago, we haven't heard anything about the lawyer's letter, and when we talked about the PNP being invoked, Mr. Tam Yu-jung, in his capacity as chairman of the CA panel, said that no investigation would be conducted. That's why we're coming direct here to the House. Now, with this lawyer's letter and with this clear fact that CY Leung is trying to silence people, shouldn't we do something about it? If we can get the select committee up and running, then people's complexion will be clearly shown, whatever the color it is. Now, CY Leung sees fit to issue a lawyer's letter, and then I think that all his Leung supporters should be supporting him. If he is clean, then we can clear his name. But if there is other color in his complexion, of course they will oppose to it.
I'll now put the motion to the vote. Anybody claiming a division? Ms. Sit Ho claims a division. Please ring the division bell.
大佬，唔係咩叫保皇？唔怕啦，算啦，冇乜事。我提大家現在。
Let me remind you that we're now voting on Ms. Sitho's motion for the appointment of the proposed Select Committee to inquire into the issues related to the unauthorized building works of the CE's properties and whether he had given any improper undertaking when he stood for the chief executive election, and to authorize the Select Committee to exercise the powers under Section 9(1) of the Legislative Council Powers and Privileges Ordinance.
現在進行表決。
Let's proceed to the vote. Before I declare that voting is closed, please check your votes. If there's no question, the voting is now closed. Clerk, please display the results. 49 present, 18 for, 30 against, no abstention. Voting result, Ms. Sitho's motion is negatived. Any other business? I don't have any item to raise under AOB. I'd like to wish you Happy New Year and have a peaceful Spring Festival.